Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ing. And Joyce, it's time for another mailbag episode.
We're almost in the double digits.
It's our ninth one.
And then next, should we do something for 10?
It's
No.
a holiday week next week. We
I
could.
know. Everyone's gonna be eating turkey and playing football. They
What
don't have
better
time for us.
what better way to listen to us
With your
than with
whole
your
family?
family? As always, you can email us at slugfest@goldderby.com and we'll answer you. These are real emails from real people, and we'll answer your questions. That's kind of the format of this episode, Joyce, if you're a newbie. We're starting with Ashton, emailed the other day. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Sebastian Stan revealed he couldn't participate in Variety's Actors on Actors this year because no other actor's publicist would let their client talk to him. This is a shame. He's given two of the best performances of the year. Maybe it's a terrible idea, but I think Variety should leak the list of the reps who they represent. What are your thoughts on this matter? And follow up, who would you have liked to see Stan do an Actors on Actors with? My vote goes to Kieran Culkin, and not just because they have the same manager and probably could have made this work out. That's from Ashton. I feel like Ashton's like a deep listener to us because like
Are you sure this is not from their manager?
we've
Like,
had
is
not
Ashton their manager?
no,
Is
it's
Ashton
a
Emily?
no, we've had not their manager who is actually not their manager. It's just another random person. This is another person who knows this bit.
Yeah, I support that pairing because they would have had so many things to talk about. Obviously Jeremy, and Mac because of Kings.
Hmm.
And Emily and just, like living in New York, acting in New York and everything.
Um,
But yeah, this whole controversy uh is killing me.
so,
Uh and yes, they should leak the list. I
so
support that.
I don't know if I support that. That's just scorched earth in a way that I don't think they should. If you're like, what are you talking about? So Sebastian Stan Joyce this week was like talking about how much he's enjoyed the response from the Hollywood community to the film, at least privately, but then publicly, it's a little different. And he said, I had an offer to do Variety's Actors on Actors this Friday, and I couldn't find another actor to do it with me because they were too afraid to go and talk about the movie. So I couldn't do it. And it doesn't matter. That's okay. That's not to point fingers at anybody. That's not pointing fingers at anybody specific. We just couldn't get past the publicists or the people representing them because they were too afraid to talk about this movie. And then later, Variety confirmed what Sebastian said is accurate. We invited him to participate in Actors on Actors, the biggest franchise of the awards season. But other actors didn't want to pair with him because they didn't want to talk about Donald Trump.
I love that sneak in there. Biggest franchise awards season. Um, yeah, it's just I think it goes to that thing of, like people will admit things to you privately, like especially if you're in like the minority opinion or something is a lightning rod. Like they'll tell it to you privately, like, oh, I really loved you in this movie or something, or like, I actually voted for Trump. But then publicly they got to keep up with appearances. So yeah, these actors publicists don't want their clients to be anywhere associated with that movie, and just even like the mere mention of Trump in a conversation to try to protect them from what, I don't know, because like you're talking about a movie and someone's performance in it, like you're not actually talking about Donald Trump and the election or his politics or anything. Like it would be solely focused on his movie. So I think it's and yeah, like it's hard to blame any actors because their reps are the gatekeepers. So a lot of times they might not even know of like offers and pitches that come to them because the reps would clear it first. Like you
Mm-hmm.
hear about like actors say all the time, like they don't even know if like a script was sent to their agent because their agent already decided, I don't want to send this to you. It's not
Right.
worth your time.
Right.
So it's like the same thing here with like interview requests too. Um, and I'm sure there's also some actors who wanted to talk to him and fought back with their reps, but their reps were like, no, like we can't have you do this, like for your candidacy. And I think like in like overall, it just shows how silly this whole thing is. Like if you're still naive to believe that like award season is like a meritocracy. It's not. It's like the whole thing with like Andrea Riseborough, like they did nothing wrong, but it wasn't fair to her because like her movie was not backed by a huge studio. They didn't have a lot of P&A, so they had to go rogue with their campaign, right?
Hmm.
So it's like it's not a fair system, and like it's like same thing here. It's like you're just gonna be talking about a movie, and you're also going to be talking about his other movie, A Different Man, too. Um, and it's like thinking it's sort of like, you know, um, a depiction is not endorsement, but like in their minds, they feel like just like talking about something is endorsement. Like talking about Donald Trump is endorsement, which it's not.
I I think the other thing too is like the move, and he says that he kind of said this in his quote. I think also it's Sebastian Stan. Let me see if I can find the rest of his quote. Um, or like the idea he was quoting a New York Times op-ed, and he was like that said the idea we have to quote stop pretending that Trump is not one of us, and that's a really difficult thing to deal with at the moment. And I understand emotions are high and blah blah blah. And the only way you're going to grasp, I think it's the only way you're going to grasp this film. We've talked about this. Like a thing that's good about the film is that it's not like
It's
a
actually
hit
an
piece.
anti-Trump film.
It's anti-Trump, but it's also not
It's not
pro.
like an obvious takedown. It's
Right. It's just a full nuance. It's very nuanced. And I
yes.
think like if it was like if it was like actually like an anti-Trump film, I think people maybe would be more interested in it. Or if it was a pro-Trump film, obviously it wouldn't be. But I don't know. I was just like, I think it's interesting that but like that this happened. I'm not at all surprised. And I don't think you are
Yeah.
either. But one thing I was wondering, you said this, like people hiding their votes and what they say in public is different from what they say in private. Does this make you like we saw the only person I really saw tweeting about this or posting about it, and you probably are more hip to this than me, but I saw like obviously Robert Downey Jr. is one person who was like, these are great performances,
Oh yeah, he was storing it a month ago. It was like one of the
right?
best films of the year.
But otherwise been pretty quiet. There's not like a Francis Fisher, Andrea Riseborough running a Lee campaign, right? For
Well,
Kate
Francis is
Winslet.
focused on Lee right now,
Right. And
so
with Dwayne Johnson focusing on Lee for
yeah,
Kate
and Leo
Winslet.
coming out for a
There's
Q&A.
not that for this, but is it possible that in real life, like Sebastian Stan says here, the number of people who have raved about the film is very high? It could just be that they're being polite to him and when they're running into him, and maybe not. But it also could be that maybe they're not going to say anything to back the film publicly, but privately when they're going to fill out their ballots, maybe he does end up as a Best Actor nominee because people really did love the performance and the film.
Yeah, it's entirely possible. Like I don't have any reason to believe he's lying when he says like actors and directors have told him to his face that they like his performance. And like you said, they could just be lying because it's like, oh, I just bumped into you at a party. I have to be nice and say something about your movie. But I think it's also as part of the campaigning, even if you haven't seen a movie and you talk to him at a party or something and you're really charmed by him, maybe you're like, oh, maybe I should give this movie a chance, because like Seb is really great. I had a great time with him tonight, and yeah, so I think, a lot of it is just like like the reps trying to protect their clients, but it just shows, how self-serving all of this is. It's like
Yes.
it's not actually about the art
No.
here. Like
No.
the conversation would be about the art, but like all of this is for self-promotion and like to keep up with your own self-interest. And for the reps, self-interest is for their client to be viable for Oscar
Yes.
and not, you know, uh, get inflamed on Twitter just
Right.
being part of a conversation about Donald Trump
We
and a
knew
movie
this.
about him.
We knew this. And it's
Yeah.
good that people now really know this too. I guess I would say like we will not know my theory here until we know it, but I'm almost like should like we've talked about best actor being like pretty light, and we both have Daniel Craig in that fifth slot, and he's been doing a lot of press and people do seemingly love him and the performance, even if the movie got somewhat mixed responses out of the festivals. But I'm like, it is possible Sebastian Stan just gets in there for playing Trump and like is a Best Actor nominee, would be very deserving, and we wouldn't know that maybe until we know it, kind of.
Yeah, and then now like there is like some support for him, like from his friends, like Paul Walter Hauser, like offering to do actors on actors with him
Would be
multiple
great.
times.
Paul Walter
Besties.
Hauser and him would be
I,
great.
Tanya forever.
Love it. I
And
Tanya's
Adam
great.
McKay has tweeted about it.
Yeah.
He's like, shame.
I mean,
Um,
Adam McKay is like on one, like
yeah,
a scorched earth.
it's unfortunate that Flower Moon came out last year because Robert De Niro would just be like me
Fuck
I'm there.
Trump, like
Yeah,
this. Fuck Trump. Remember when he was like yelling about his speech last year? That was
that was
great.
iconic.
Uh, well, I'm sure we'll talk more about this, Joyce, but we should move on. Another email here. This one's from Alex, who is our old Wicked fan. It's been a Wicked ride or die since we did our first picks. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Back again to talk more about Wicked as it continues to erupt in the film ether. I know it's early, but it seems to be getting stronger and stronger with a finally unveiled letterbox score of 4.3 and a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes with almost 1,000 responses captured as of this email. Do you see a world where this ends up performing as strong as Chicago in terms of nominations? In most reviews, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, most people seem to gravitate towards in most reviews after Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, most people seem to gravitate towards Jonathan Bailey's performance as the next standout. If the film is strong enough, could he start rising as a serious contender in supporting actor where that race feels very flexible? Also, are we looking at the wrong musical coattail nomination with Selena Gomez? And could it possibly be Michelle Yeoh instead? I know you and other pundits are logically and reasonably trying to find every weakness with this film, but I truly think it's going to take off, like with nothing getting in its way. Hope
Wait,
all's
we're
well.
trying to find weakness in Wicked?
Well, he doesn't think we're and negatively. I think he's just like we're like looking at it. He's looking at it for the fans, Joyce, and we're looking at
Yes,
it
I
for like
know. The biggest
uh
Wicked stan
right.
out there.
Anyway, Jonathan Bailey and Michelle Yeoh. I mean, that would be like what on earth? I don't know.
Like, sorry, but no.
So I would be more inclined to
I
say
also love like no
Jonathan.
mention of Jeff Goldblum.
No, I would be more inclined to say Jonathan Bailey of those
Yes,
two. He's
because
got a
it's
big
just very
number.
charming, very winning. It's like his Bridgerton
Yeah,
performance in a musical.
he's super
So
funny, incredibly charming. Has a big dance number and a song that's great.
yeah, and just chemistry with everyone. So
Fantastic. He even has chemistry with Ethan Slater.
yeah, and the Lion Cub, you
Really
know.
cute.
Michelle is fine.
I, yeah, I think we could leave it there.
I mean, like I'm not a fan of that character in general, Madame Marble. Um, and I mean, I think she would say so herself, and she has. Like, she's not a singer,
Hmm.
and then when she sings, she is doing that sing speak thing that they do in Emilia Perez.
She would fit right in with the Emilia Perez voice
Yeah.
performances, I think.
Hmm.
Um, Here's another wicked one, Joyce. This one's from Michelle. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I don't like to drag people, but I saw a review of Wicked the other day that just makes me question media literacy and who gets to cover the arts when so many great journalists are out of work.
I think I know what this one is about.
Quote, it might have been lighter on its feet if the editors had cut a subplot about magical talking animals, which doesn't add anything except several minutes of running time, and then they could have cut Elphaba's sister, who is given perplexingly little to do. This is from the BBC, I believe, Joyce.
Yes, I saw that on Twitter on Tuesday when it went around.
Michelle continues. The latter half is, at least in part, the fault of splitting the movie in two. Nessa, Elphaba's sister, plays an important role in the story, but you need to see the second half to fully understand it. She's definitely underdeveloped in the first movie and was underdeveloped in the musical too, so this is true to form, though I don't know why this is still the case when you split the musical in two. But the first half of this statement reveals the critic just missed the point. And not to pile on, but earlier in the review, it was clear the critic didn't know about the Gregory Maguire book from which the musical was adapted, just saying it was a spin-off, not what a spin-off is, of Baum's The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. I never say you need to know the source material for something, but this is just ignorant in a way that is frustrating when so many more qualified people could have covered this film. End of rant. Sorry. That's from Michelle.
Love Michelle. I agree. 10-10 no notes. Yeah, I read that full review too after that excerpt went around on Twitter. I was like, I gotta see who wrote this. And yeah, I think it's completely fine if you're unfamiliar with the source material of something. I think that might even make for a better review because you have no like previous attachment, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you still need to do your due diligence. And clearly there was no fact checking or editing involved in this. Like, even if the critic fucked up himself with that, like, where's the fact check and editing? But anyway, yeah, that part is hilarious. Because the animal cruelty subplot is the actual point of the movie, and that's what drives Elphaba. And I'm just like, did you fall asleep during the movie? Because like you like that's like the last act when she after she casts the spell on the monkey and then she realizes that the wizard is a fraud and he's the one behind.
Joyce, the wizard is a fraud. We're going to spoil this movie for everybody.
I know no one knows. This is not a hugely popular IP at all. And yeah, like I'm like yeah, did you just fall asleep during the movie? Like that's the whole point.
The funny thing about this criticism is, and like Michelle mentions, like the criticism is actually that neither of those parts in a 2 hour and 40 minute movie are shown to be as vital as they are to the story. And that's a flaw of the script and I think the storytelling more than in the film, more than a flaw in the show, I would say.
Yeah, I would say the animal thing, like they explicitly say it, like that's in the dialogue. So I don't know how you missed that unless you were just asleep.
Right.
The Nessa Rose stuff, I understand if you're not familiar with the musical at all, because she is still underdeveloped in this movie that is almost as long as the Broadway musical as a whole, and she remains underdeveloped. So it is weird that in a 2 hour 40-minute runtime they did not find room, I guess,
I,
to develop her character more and her relationship with Elphaba and also with Bach, because like those are so important in Act Two, which and there's a time jump in Act Two, so there's so much character development that happens off screen that we're not going to see,
it it one
presumably.
of the most shocking, one of the most things, the unanswerable things about the movie is how is this movie 2 hours and 40 minutes? Doesn't feel really, doesn't drag really, I don't
Yeah,
think.
you're never bored.
But like I don't understand how it's this long and how we have these questions of character development with a 2 hour and 40 minute movie. But
Yeah.
it's true, we do. And it's just like it's great. I enjoy the movie very much, but I'm just like I don't when you get down like to the brass tacks of like the storytelling, I'm like, how did this get so long?
Yeah.
Uh
And then also, I don't know about you, but in the musical, like I find Act Two, and I think most people do, like I find Act Two weaker than Act One.
hmm. I haven't seen the
And so
musical
I
in
am
100
curious to
years.
see like what happens with part two next year.
I mean, maybe they'll make more change. I mean, maybe they will make more changes. There are new songs, right? It's
Yeah.
possible they could be really readjusting Act Two.
Yes, because there's not a lot of readjustment in Act One.
Right.
So
This one is from Tinashe, an old pal who's emailed us many times at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I just have to say the updated format of the pod has significantly improved the listening experience. Great
wow.
job. Also, Chris, I was incredibly proud listening to your appearance on The Ankler last month with Sony Pictures Classics. Maybe I've drunk the Kool-Aid, but here are my predictions, and I'd love to hear your reactions. Nicole Kidman is winning Best Actress. One, she really wants it, and we all know that's the most important factor. Two, she's been engaged in a year-long promotion and other projects have increased her visibility. It would be the culmination of a year with several miniseries films and the first Aussie AFI tribute. Three, Nicole has taken control of the narrative, highlighting that her presence in numerous projects is providing work for her fellow actors, not taking it, which will resonate strongly with SAG. Three, the spiciness of the film might make it a hit with certain demographics, yearning for a sexy drama. Four, as a veteran, her first Oscar win, which was fine, but it wasn't on the level of Sophie's Choice or Black Swan. Five, this film feels like a repackaging of what Nicole loves, Birth, in a more Academy-friendly, sexy film. And six, Mikey Madison might be the Austin Butler to her Brendan Fraser.
I understand the comp, but Brendan Fraser is no Nicole Kidman.
I agree. And
No
Nicole's
shade
already
to
won.
Brendan. I think he would agree too.
And she's already won an Oscar.
Yes.
Joyce, are we sleeping on Baby Girl a little bit? We both have her in. We've had her in since she won the Volpe Cup Best Actress at Venice. But I don't have the movie anywhere else. I have her just as a lone nominee.
I had it in screenplay for a couple weeks in like September, I think, but I've since moved it out and it's hard to find room for it and other
Mm-hmm.
contenders too, especially with the substance on the rise. You know, it's way more crowded than adapted.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't be surprised if that got in. And yeah, I think she could win. Like, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. Um, a lot of factors would have to lineup, but the performance, I know you haven't seen it, but the performance is there
I
in the
can't wait
film.
to see it. I'm so through the roof ready to like love this
You're
movie.
gonna love the needle drops in the movie. It's not the songs in the trailer, but it, yeah.
One of the things I've been you've seen it, I haven't seen it yet, and one of the things I've been wondering honestly for weeks that I don't know if we've really talked about is this: why isn't Harris Dickinson being? Why can't he be a coattail Best Supporting Actor nominee when there's really four slots there again that feel like even maybe even less? I don't know. Like there's room in that category for him to show up. Why has he not been like even talked about really? You've seen the movie.
It's yeah, I think I don't know if I still have him at the Globes, but I did put him in the Globes before I even saw it, just because I was like, sixth spot, I need someone
Hmm.
there. Um, but I think it's because she won the Volpe Cup, so then the whole conversation around the film has been around her,
Right.
really.
I
Um,
yeah.
and he's really good in it, and the film, my whole thing with the film is that I think there is an erroneous perception of it, because it's been called in the press an erotic thriller, and it's not like that at all. I think people are expecting like Basic Instinct or something. It's not. It's just it's like a seductive drama
Yeah.
because it's not really about, I mean, like the affair is the plot device, but it's not really about them like having sex all over the place. It's not
Right.
some like torrid affair. It's
Right.
about power dynamics, um, and self-acceptance and shame, and female pleasure. And she's talked about this too,
Yeah.
Nicole. And yeah, I think if you're going into it, like even if it's not even like Unfaithful. So if you think it's like that, or even like Secretary, it's not like that at all. Like there's actually not a lot of sex in it,
I,
and it's more of a suspense film.
I'm seeing it in a couple weeks, but based on Helena Rains, I've seen of her work, Bodies, 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 and just seeing reading interviews. I feel like I feel like it's going to be much more um nuanced in that approach and more about like the like you said the power dynamics and generational divides than
Yeah,
maybe anything else. I could see putting him in if after I watch it, but I'm also like I don't I just am like if you're gonna like we know Borisov is the heart and soul of Honora, love him in there, and like there's a lot of like coattail potential in all of those. Like the supporting actor and actress race feels like coattail heavy anyway, but I'm like yeah, I don't know. I think he can make it in. Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll see. But he
he's
has not really been talked about.
no he's very good in it, and yeah, I think it would also depend on the reception of the film too, and
Hmm.
they've been taking it out ever. They've been doing so many
Oh,
screenings.
I get every day I get an email of an event I wasn't invited to at for Baby Girl.
Yeah, and like Jude Law is there, Ewan McGregor is there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, this one's from Ash Joyce, a newcomer. So I love when we get new emailers. Hi Joyce and Chris. I'm a longtime listener, first time caller, and I want to thank you so much for all the entertaining content you do. I also love the way you all treat awards with reverence, but a shared understanding that it's just silliness. I
It's
have a question about the unknown quantity of this award season. A complete unknown. I've seen a lot of comparisons to Bohemian Rhapsody, but I find that comp a little confusing. Queen had half a dozen hits that every sentient being on the planet knows. But does anyone really care about Bob Dylan? Dylan has always felt like an artist everyone born after 1955 has respect for, but doesn't actually listen to. I guess I can see a situation where the film and Chalamet's performance is undeniable, but if it fails to connect with audiences, is there a possibility that it just gets shuts out? I mean, what normies under the age of 70 are planning to watch this movie besides Club Chalamet, of course? It's from Ash.
Has Cliff Chalamet seen it yet?
I don't follow the
I
Twitter.
mean, let's just check. What's their last tweet?
Joyce, we're recording this on Wednesday while you check. Last night, or Thursday, excuse me, on Wednesday night, the first screening of A Complete Unknown happened in LA. Some
Yes,
tweets. And the tweets
the tweets were bountiful at midnight our time.
and it felt to me, I'm not going to single anyone out. It felt to me like a lot of pre-written tweets were sent out. That was just my take. It felt like you didn't even, all the tweets to me were like, I didn't need to watch the movie to get this. Timothy Chalamet's great. The supporting actresses are good. James Mangold is a professional. I'm like, we got all that from the trailer. It was not a lot of depth in the tweets.
No. So Club Chalamet, no, has not seen it yet. They've just been tweeting about the reactions.
Okay.
And then an imposter on Blue Sky apparently as well.
Mm.
But anyway, yes, I agree. It just felt very standard.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And maybe the film is standard too. I don't know. We haven't seen it yet, so
We're seeing it next week. And social sentiments are allowed, Joyce.
yes.
Not reviews. We will not review it, but we will social
The
sentiment
review
about it.
embargo's the 10th.
Yes.
Oh.
We might, I guess we would have to social sentiment about it during our mailbag episode next week. It's recording early for the holiday. Yeah, it doesn't feel like I think the Dylan stuff there is hilarious. I do think it's definitely not going to be like Bohemian Rhapsody or Elvis. I don't think that Bob
No,
Dylan is that kind of artist.
no, and his style is very polarizing. I agree.
Now,
And
that said, it cleaned up, did really well at the AARP Awards for Grown-Ups this week, Joyce, Complete Unknown.
yes, but also a limited pool because in terms
Not,
of actors and
yeah,
like the individuals, you need to be over 50.
right. But I'm just saying, like, for the movie did well. I guess my thing was
I
like,
mean, they didn't nominate Ed. They could.
I,
He's eligible.
true. Uh, I was like, if that movie's going to get play at the Academy, it's for the old guard of the Academy is going to like it. I think that would be your idea.
Yeah, it's not going to make $900 million at the box office.
No,
So, I don't know, but yeah, just judging by the social sentiments from last night, it feels like pretty adequate. I
we
don't know.
we both have Timothy Chalamet in. Nothing disabuses me from that notion based on the
I mean,
initial
Monica
reaction.
Barbeau got a lot of good ink.
And I don't think there's room for Monica Barbaro, frankly, even though I loved her in Top Gun and the Arnold Schwarzenegger show that she did for Netflix. And I didn't put it anywhere else. I still have it just the lone nominee for now. So we'll see it next week. I'll see what I want to do in terms of
But
adding
you
in
put
other
it in
places.
everywhere.
Well, I mean, like it has a lot of great craftsmen and women working on the film, but I don't know if there's room, like we said. Like this is already a lot of movies that are very craft heavy this year.
I
Our
think
old
people are
pal,
also waiting for it to see if like it's gonna be like Searchlight's #1 instead of A Real Pain,
right? That's another thing too. David L is back, Joyce.
About what?
I'm gonna read it. You'll find out. Just wait 1 second. So gotta
Are you trying to like cut it?
No, I'm trying to. I already cut it. We're building suspense here. The listener is gonna be like, "Wow, I wonder what David L is gonna say this week." Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's someone who's got your backs and is ready to defend you against the bot army of substance fans. David L.
Were there more this week?
There are. Last week we were getting. We'll put a pin in that, and we'll talk about it after. I saw a screening of Glad 2 a couple of weeks ago, and I was very disappointed. The fact that you think it's good makes me laugh. This felt like an unnecessary sequel we didn't need. The first one is great, and it felt more like an emotional epic drama like The Revenant, and the writer, David Scarpa, turned this sequel into a dumb, cliched action movie. Chris, I watched your interview with Scarpa, and it really bugged me. I would have held his feet to the fire about this terrible mess of a movie. Denzel is very good, but the writing makes it seem like he's in a completely different movie than everyone else. Also, if Maclin is a puppet master, why does he have to help a certain character do what they do in the last act? That scene felt really forced to me, and the scene should have just been that actor's to do and not Denzel's. So many storylines were rushed in the third act to the point where I couldn't take it seriously anymore, and I also thought Pedro Pascal was totally wasted. Also, the CGI in the movie is bad. Even Napoleon's visual effects look better than this, and they didn't do anything revolutionary with the Colosseum. Now they just have more bells and whistles to which it make it look awful. They can flood it and put fake-looking sharks in it now. Ridley Scott needs to ditch Scarpa as a screenwriter so he can get nominated again. He definitely won't get any recognition for this. You can take that prediction to the bank. Anyway, I always love and respect your opinions, even when they're undeniably crazy, especially Chris's ignorant take on Flower Moon last week. Sorry for this email being long, Joyce. I just had to get my Glad 2 thoughts out there and why the sequel doesn't work.
What did you say last week about Flower Moon?
That's not great. I don't think it's good. I don't know. David loves the movie. I know he does.
Listen, we don't have to like the same things.
We're not relitigating Flower Moon.
Yeah.
We're both much higher on Glad 2 than David L.
Yeah, and I don't know why it needs to be like a serious emotional epic. Why can't it just be an unserious action film?
And Yes, and I also thought the visual effects looked pretty good. I do. I don't know. I
I
didn't think they
prefer the
looked
visual
bad.
effects in Gladiator to the visual effects in Wicked, honestly.
Yes. And also Glad 2-8er, they both were shot outside. Glad 2-8er looks like it was shot outside, and Wicked looks like it shot outside for soundstage. You know what I mean? Like you'd shoot dry for wet. This was like we're gonna shoot outside and make it look like a soundstage. So I don't know how they did that either. Magic of movies, I guess. But yeah, I think it's good. So we disagree. And David Scarpa, I thought was really cool talking to him. I like that interview I did with him, and I didn't hold his feet to the fire because I thought it's a good movie.
Yeah, and I mean they've also been very open that it's not supposed to be 100% historically accurate about anything.
I will
And
say when
then
I
it's
brought that up to David Scarpa, he was like, "I researched everything, and then I presented to Ridley, and then
Ridley's like,
basically
fuck
the
that.
implication being like Ridley being like, fuck this, I want to put sharks in this.
That's why Ridley's the
It's
best.
the best." Uh, this one's from Daniel Joyce, another new emailer. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I've been a big fan of the show for years now. You're my trusted companions
Oh
during
God, no.
traffic every Thursday and Friday. You two get me excited for my favorite time of year, award season, since your crazy early predictions episode in April. So thank you so much for the year-long content. I've got two questions this week. The first one is regarding Emilia Pérez. I just watched it on Netflix, and I gotta say that I'm 100% part of the group considering it the Oscar villain. It's a bold movie with big swings and even bigger performances, but I have found it too messy in its genre experimentation. Also, as a native Spanish speaker, Selena Gomez's accent is genuinely distracting. Anyway, my question is, do you see any possibility that this doesn't get in its SAG for Best Ensemble, given the mixed response and the very small cast? I can easily see just Carla, Sofia Gascon, and Zoe Saldana getting single nominations and the ensemble missing for something else like Saturday Night or even Gladiator II. Can you explain why the prediction for Best Ensemble is practically unanimous among Gold Derby users? And then my second question is regarding Clarence Maclin and Sing Sing. He is also being highly predicted to get that SAG nomination and then the Oscar nomination, but I don't know why. I got a feeling that he could miss SAG for someone like Ed Norton, more known in the industry. Do you think Macklin's narrative makes him an easy choice among SAG voters, making him a sure thing? My gut is telling me that maybe Coleman is the only nominated performance from that movie. Thank you for taking your time. P.S. Ariana Grande is going to win Best Supporting Actress over Zoe Saldana. Mark my words. From Daniel.
Wow. Have you moved Ariana to first yet? You were threatening to do so
I
yesterday.
have not done it yet.
Are
And
you gonna
maybe by the
be
end of
look,
the
look,
episode,
look at that devious smile.
I haven't done it
You're
yet.
gonna do it right now. You're doing it right now.
I'm just loading up our website and I'm doing it right now. I said I would do it. We'd do it today. I want to get that tweet from the Ariana Grande fan site.
The Arianators.
Sorry to
You're
Selenators.
just here for the attention.
I'm sorry to Selenators that I don't have her in anymore. And here we go, Ariana Grande. Let me close the pop-up window. And now she's in first place, and I look forward to seeing the tweet.
You have her in first everywhere.
Well, I have her winning SAG too, I think. So yeah.
I think Emilia is probably fine for SAG. As we said, actors really like that movie. Meryl Streep just did a Q&A last night for Selena. Just Selena, not the three of them.
Maybe I should put her back in. I gotta think about this. I don't
Yeah.
know who I want to drop. I want to drop Danielle. I feel like Danielle's really doing a great job campaigning. And I love campaigning.
Well, you'll put Selena back in this time next week.
Maybe.
I think like SAG is also the most socially conscious of the groups. So, and they love Netflix. So those are 2 plus points for Emilia Perez. I don't think the size of the cast really matters. Um, and yeah, so I think they'll get in. There's not a lot of like really good options for ensemble this year either, you know?
I also think like I think it's absolutely safer ensemble. I still think it could win ensemble. The thing that's great about the movie is the four actresses. So I think like that's not going to change. Even I think people who don't love the movie will probably still think that the actresses are great, and the four of them in the room together, like we've seen, is a powerful campaign
I
tool.
mean, it's mostly three. Like, where's Adriana?
No, she was. I mean, in the
They've
beginning
just
during the
left her.
festivals, during the festival, she was there.
I know, but now like for the actual campaign, it's
No,
just
it's just the three of them.
yeah.
And Clarence Maclin Joyce. I mean, we have him in. I have him in both places at the SAG and the Oscars. I don't know. I think it's a very enticing narrative for SAG. But yeah,
Yeah, they like it. SAG would respond well to his narrative. They love a narrative. And also, again, socially conscious.
But at the Oscars, it's really all Coleman. I mean, he is like put pedal to the metal again to campaigning. So maybe it's just Coleman and maybe it's Best Picture and Adapted Screenplay and not Clarence Maclin at the Oscars.
They're still trying to bring Sing Sing back.
It still remains one when you look at like the Rotten Tomato scores and the Letterboxd scores. It remains one of the most acclaimed movies in the race
Yeah,
this
most
year.
people who have seen it love it.
And I think that we've said that's why I feel like it's safe for Best Picture nomination because I think it's top. The people who love it are going to have it top three, top two, maybe number one. Coleman is safe to me in a soft category. Adapted screenplay also. Clarence maybe not. I don't know. I mean, he could fall out. Maybe Ed Norton sneaks in there too. Um, this one's from Ite, who's emailed us before, Joyce. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I saw Emilia Pérez in a theater here in Tel Aviv, and I was okay with it, but I hated the music, except for Selena Gomez's angry song. Gun to my head, I couldn't even sing a single note from any song in the movie. The audience laughed every time they started singing, especially the awful Doctor song. I think while the performances are great, and I love Carla Sofia Gascon, especially when she channels Manitas in the last act, the script and the style of the movie were too melodramatic for international audiences who tend to be more cynical than people in the US. Also, I have a hard time seeing Zoe Saldana have an easy win because her character kind of fizzles out in the last act.
I agree. I can't sing any of the songs. I don't remember any single line or any single melody.
I have another email about the songs here, Joyce. Hey, I've got a lot of emails about Emilia Perez. This one was from Chris, who's emailed us before. I'll just quickly read it. I know you're probably tired of all the Emilia Perez emails, but I wanted to give my take. I'm very mixed on the film, many highs and lows, especially in the music. I know you two are higher on Mi Camino, while Gold Derby prefers El Mal. However, after watching the film, I found El Mal mediocre and Mi Camino just all right. The highlight for me was Para, maybe the best sequence in the film for me, and I'm not the only one based on some of the other reactions I read online. Do you think a best song nomination is El Mal and or Mi Camino or Bust? Or could another song like Para or Las Damas que Pasan be in the hunt? Is this a submission thing where Netflix only submitted the two songs?
They only submitted the two. So,
And does that, so like, I don't know. What do you think, Joyce? Like, is it possible that they submitted the
I mean,
wrong
we both
songs?
only have one song getting in, which
We
is
have
Me.
Mi Camino in.
And I think both are still in the top five, right?
El Mal is number one.
I mean, your wife's favorite song.
It's the Spanish language death metal.
Do you think it's just number one because it's Zoe's song and that's like her
Yes.
like Oscar scene? Like, and people are just
Yes.
like reflexively putting that in first?
Yes.
Um,
It's not, you're not winning an Oscar for the scene. If it was the scene, I could argue that El Mal would be a great winner, but it's not. It's the song.
yeah. Um,
What if neither song gets in?
I mean, I think we've mentioned that before, maybe offline. Like, what if neither gets Well,
Oh no,
also
we're pulling back the curtain here.
last night was the Hollywood Music and Media Awards, and Diane Warren won
What
with
if
the.
she wins this year for 6 888?
I just feel like there are like, two big movies on the horizon with songs
Mm-hmm.
that could win, and we already have a song from a major singer from the probable animated feature winner.
Correct.
So,
Uh, this one's from Evan, Joyce. Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's Evan here. I saw Anora last weekend in theaters, and oh my God, this is my favorite movie of the year. I completely agree with Chris. From the opening shot of the movie, I knew I was going to love it. I saw it with my mom, and me and her were absolutely howling through the entire thing in the theater. I want this film to win Best Picture and Best Actress for Mikey Madison, but I'm trying not to get my hopes up. I also saw Emilia Perez on Netflix. The best way I could describe this movie is if Baz Luhrmann and Pedro Almodovar were forced to make a movie together. It was totally fine for me. But I can understand why others love it was totally fine for me, but I understand why others don't. And they're trying to anti-dick things and hate on shit. But that's the whole fun of it. To have fun in movies and surprise you. Um anyway, sorry for the rant. People should be more grateful and just enjoy award season for what it is. Much love. That's from Evan.
yes, very true. I love that description.
Like,
We should steal it.
it's so good.
Evan will get credit. It's copyrighted.
Evan.
I mean, like when I was watching Emilia Perez, I was like, this is very Baz Luhrmann coded.
Mhm. Um, Here's this is so good. That was really good. Here's Amir Taha, who's emailed us before, Joyce. Hi, Joyce and Chris. What's going on with Best Picture this year? I can't really see Nora winning since it's a comedy about sex workers. I also can't see Emilia Pérez winning since the reviews are becoming too divisive, and it just hasn't exactly been the phenomenon we expected it to be on Netflix. The buzz around The Brutalist has been very quiet, and surprisingly, the only film I can see winning Best Picture is Conclave. People absolutely love Conclave, and I currently have it in for 9 nominations, and I'm on the edge of putting it in for sound, too. I have it winning for 4: picture, screenplay, actor, and score. I guess I can also see a world where Dune dominates, but that's not happening. Do you see a potential for Wicked to win Best Picture? Also, I don't get why you two dropped September 5. It's the kind of movie that general audiences will love, maybe the way they're loving Conclave, and critics also seem to like it. Um, anyway, what do you think? It's from Mir Taha.
Listen, I don't want to drop September 5, but I had to get Wicked in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I love September 5.
Uh,
I mean, you have Conclave in first.
I do. This is a great year because, like we said, there's really no consensus on any of these.
It's
What's going
fun.
to win? But I agree. None of the movies that he mentioned feel like winners right now. A lot can change, but we're already at the end of November, and I'm like, where's the winner?
That's why it's fun. Like, there's no actual front runner that we've had an obvious front runner at this stage,
Mm-hmm.
like the last 4 years. So even if they didn't end up winning, like Power of the Dog,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Yeah, I can see a path for Conclave as just like the consensus. Like no one hates that movie.
It's important that no one hates it, and it's done really
Yes.
well.
Yes. And then Wicked, I I feel like it's still like we said yesterday, I think it's the Barbie of the year.
And when I had Amelia Perez winning, and I had it not in for director, writing, or editing,
And now you don't have Wicked in for.
and I don't have Wicked winning, but I don't have it in any of those places either, and I don't think it will get in any of those places. So I'm like not sure it could win Best Picture. I think it's like Barbie or Black Panther, where it's going to win a SAG ensemble, and then people are going to be really
It's
psyched.
hugely populist.
And it could win PGA too, frankly. But I don't think it's going to win Best Picture. Um,
Yeah, I mean, like Anora is still in first, and like I still have it in first, mostly as most likely to be nominated, and I think it could still win. Like I think most people like it.
mhm.
The Brutalist still to come. Obviously, everyone will ding it, or a lot of people will ding it for being long.
The dings will be that it's too long, and the first part is better than the second part.
Yeah, and it's not like the second part is not bad. I think it's kind of actually similar to Wicked because
Hmm.
the first part and like the first Wicked like leaves you on such a high, and then things get darker in both part twos. And I
Yes,
think with the Brutalist, you don't want that to happen because
correct.
you're so attached to Laszlo by
It,
that point.
it's also not a knock to say, like, I think a lot of people are like the first act or first half of Lord is like maybe one of the best movies I've seen. It's just if that's isolated, maybe one of the best movies I've seen in like 5 or 10 years. But then the second act is also good, but not as good. And so it's like kind of hurts its like overall feeling of the movie. But it's like, oh
Yeah,
my
and
God,
then
like
and then people are
really
also
good.
divided over something that happens in the
Yes.
second half.
Yes.
So,
This one I thought was interesting. This is from Dominic, I think another new emailer. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Which potential nominees this year do you think will be boosted or hindered by their clips? I think a good clip would be a make or break for those vying for the fourth or fifth slot. My mind takes me back to last year with Sandra Huller or America Ferrara, both who had these great monologues, overtaking Margot Robbie and Penelope Cruz. Having recently watched Nora, I think Yura Borisov might be in trouble because his role really doesn't have that big solo scene, and any possible scene he might have, Mikey Madison is also there taking the tension away. Meanwhile, Isabella Rossellini can probably get in with her 4 dynamite minutes. What do you think? Am I overestimating this metric?
um, I think like an Oscar clip is more important when you're trying to explain a movie to someone right? Or you're talking to someone about like why this person is good and like why they would get in. And I
Hmm.
agree it's harder with someone like Europe because his performance is the kind that sneaks up on you, and it's an accumulation of all of his scenes together. So he doesn't have like that shouty or big explosive scene or big monologue. It's like a lot of his performances in the background, just observing
Hmm.
and paying attention to Annie. I would think like his if they play clips. I mean, in most of these places, it might be like the clip in the house, like at the end,
Yes,
that
I
conversation.
think so.
Yeah.
He's a great at smoking cigarettes. I think it's like one of the
Yes.
great
Yes.
cigarette
Great
actors.
cigarette smoker.
Great
Yeah.
cigarette smoker this year.
Yeah.
This one's from Andre Joyce. Last week, for listeners. This is like good. We're gonna pay off something. If you remember last week, we got an email from Portugal. I think Durtag
Yes.
or Durtug. I'm saying it wrong. Dutartug, I think. Whatever. No disrespect to Dutartug. I just don't remember how to say the name. Anyway, he emailed and he said he saw The Brutalist and someone was talking to Brady Corbet about maybe winning an Oscar. Remember this email?
Yes. And then we were like, don't tell people that they're gonna win Oscars.
So here's Andre. Hi, Joyce and Chris. It's me, Andre. I've emailed a couple of times, and today I need to get the record straight. I'm from Portugal. So, yes, Chris, don't pronounce my name remotely right, but no American does anyway, so it's fine. Last week, a fellow Portuguese emailer talked about a screening of The Brutalist with Brady himself attending. I was there, and I was probably the person who Duartug heard congratulating Brady on the Oscar. That's
Wow.
not what I did, though. I was having a nice chat with the guy. I even took a picture with him, and I wanted to see how he would react with someone talking about the Oscars. There's always some authors who get very awkward when you talk about awards. So I said, you probably don't care, but you're going to win an Oscar. And he laughed and he said, we'll see, we'll see. Thanks, pal. And it was amusing. Have a nice week, and I'll be back to talk more about some of the awards movies I've seen, but I just had to tell you my truth. Andre.
I love that we're settling this here.
Duartug, email back. Maybe we got to connect you and Andre.
I know this feels like the affair, just like both sides. You know, what is the truth? Duck, yes.
Uh, Thank you for the email, Andre, and for sending the record straight. Well, let's go to Sam here, who emailed us as well at slugfest@goldderby.com. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I just got out of a real pain, and I absolutely loved it. Although as an American Jew who is exactly Jesse Eisenberg's character to a T, I was probably predisposed to loving it. Kieran Culkin and the screenplay are obviously terrific, and I think Jesse is great as well, but because of the hyper-reserved nature of the character, I'm not sure there's quite enough meat on the bone for a nomination, but maybe the dinner scene monologue is enough. Also, I've done the Poland trip and dozens of other Holocaust tours, and I think Will Sharp might be the best tour guide I've ever had. My question is this: what do you think would be nominated for Best Casting if it was established this year? I would predict Sing Sing, Anora, Emilia Pérez, Conclave, and Nickel Boys. Thanks as always, it's Sam.
Hmm. But Conclave, Sing Sing, Honora, Nickel Boys,
And Emilia Pérez.
those are all probable. I feel like there would probably be like one big pick in there too. Like I could see Wicked
I think
getting it.
Wicked over Nickel
Yeah,
Boys. I don't know.
yeah. That
But
would be
the
upsetting
others,
next year.
yeah. Here's our old pal Harold and Maude Joyce, so known as Aiden, I believe. Hi, Joyce and Chris. I hope you're doing well. I recently saw A Real Pain for a second time, and I
Wow.
liked it even more and thought a bit of a silly idea for its awards chances. Jesse Eisenberg has been accepted as a contender in the Best Actor category, but I was wondering if he maybe could land a surprise Best Supporting Actor nomination on Oscar boarding, much like LaKeith Stanfield did in 2020. This obviously isn't a 1-to-1 or 2021. This obviously isn't a 1-to-1, but if Kieran Culkin seems strong to win and is basically just as much of a lead as Jesse, I could see them wanting to come along, wanting to bring Jesse along with him. I'm also getting increasingly excited for the New York Film Critics Circle Awards, particularly with who they'll give Best Supporting Actress to. Natasha Lyonne, Anjanae Ellis-Taylor, or Danielle Deadwyler makes sense to me, but if Zoe Saldana actually takes it in, I'm incredibly worried about how the year will go. I also want to say that Megalopolis is a terrible movie, and this resurgence of online support I'm seeing for it after its release on digital is going to age very badly for a lot of people. Happy Thanksgiving.
Um, I I think the LaKeith thing was just a fluke
It
because
felt like a COVID fluke, right?
it
Like
was just like the circumstances of that year, and we were all like, it was like Jared Leto for The Little Things, or Alan Kim, who I love, for Minari. Um, I I don't think that would happen with Jesse, but I'm jealous that you've seen it twice because I want to see it again. And A Real Pain actually is a film like I've seen this year that the further I get away from it, the more I like it.
I'm gonna watch it again, Joyce. I got them to send me a screener.
So, yeah, and Jesse's great in it, and I do think he could get into Best Actor. I've been thinking about putting him in since I've talked to him, not because I've talked to him,
I
but
haven't I almost had him
I mean,
in.
I told you you would have put him in if
I
you had talked to
I'm
him.
gonna watch it. Let me watch it again, and then I'll put him in.
Maybe I should put him in before you do, so I could clone.
No, because then I'm gonna be copying you again.
No, I'm gonna do it now. I'm gonna put him in.
God damn it! All right, well you do that. I got another one
Um,
here.
yeah, and he has great scenes. He has the dinner scene
I,
and also the scene on the roof later on. So
I saw this at Sundance on my computer here at my desk during Sundance, and my takeaway at the time was Kieran was great, but I thought Jesse was the best thing in the movie, and I knew that obviously Kieran was going to get all the headlines because people love Kieran Culkin and he's like the showy part. But I think, like you're saying, the more you think about the movie, the better maybe it gets. And I think the Jesse performance, while it doesn't have like as showy moments, is a thing that I think people really are is going to stick to the ribs, as it were.
yeah, and then there's like going back to what we were saying about like Europe, where it's a lot of his performances observing a lot. That's also Jesse's performance is like him taking in what Kieran's doing and his interactions with the tour group, and like how he both envies him and pities him,
Hmm.
you know? And yeah, it's really affecting, and yeah, yeah, again, like it's not as flashy as Kieran's,
And
but you need that performance from him and that character to balance out what Kieran is bringing to the table.
and Daniel Craig could certainly get in, like we've said many times, and have him in. And there's passion for, and maybe he's like Anna de Armas for Blonde. Like that's the comp I keep thinking of for him. But I'm like Jesse could also just get in, right? Like I mean, like maybe Timothy. I mean, I don't know.
Should I put him in first at the Globes? I
People
still have
like
seven first there.
it, I like the other thing. Like people like the movie more than
Hmm.
Queer. I think just
Yes.
so that also maybe helps. This one is from we've had not Kieran's manager. We had that email before that was not Kieran's manager or Seb's manager. This is from not his manager either about Kieran. Hi,
Is
Joyce and
so is this
Chris.
is a different
It's a
person?
different, it's a
Okay.
third person. It's
Okay.
just picking
Okay.
up the baton
Okay.
of the bit. So from not his manager either. Hi, Joyce and Chris. What in the world are we doing giving Kieran Culkin a breakthrough award in the year of our Lord 2024? Please be serious.
Completely laughable and egregious.
Joyce, what was the group that did this yesterday on
So
Wednesday?
yesterday on Wednesday, Palm Springs,
Yes.
right? Announced that they were gonna give Kieran the Breakthrough Performance Award.
Yes.
Um, and it's yeah, like why exactly?
He's
How did
breaking
he break
through.
through with A Real Pain? How? Please tell me how.
In the terms of breakthrough, is it like he's the Kool-Aid man? Is that what he's breaking through? Do they think he breaks through the
I
set or
don't like
something?
this man has been acting for 34 years.
He won an
He's
Emmy.
been famous since he was 8. So, I also just want to mention when I talked to Jesse, because he has said like in other interviews that he had never seen Kieran in anything. So I was like, not even Home Alone. And he said he has seen Home Alone, but he didn't know who he was in it. I was like, obviously
Wow.
Fuller.
Okay.
Go easy on the Pepsi. Um, yeah, and then yeah, obviously, just nearly swept without SAG, like awards in January for Succession. And he's been in a bunch of movies. And also, even if you're like treating A Real Pain as his like prestige breakthrough or whatever, he already did Igby Goes Down 22 years ago, and he got awards recognition for that.
One thing I've found is that breakthrough is a very ill-defined, flexible term that people use to just give people they like awards during award season.
Yes, which is also just funny. Like, if they wanted to give him an award, just make him a new award.
They're
Come up
making
with
up
new
awards all
name.
the time.
Yeah.
Zendaya just got one from Zendaya,
Spotlight tribute.
Spotlight. Zendaya or
Oh
Zendaya?
my
I get this
God.
right.
Zendaya.
Zendaya.
How could you?
This one's from our old friend Gabriel. Joyce, we have a few left, so I want to make sure we get them in here. And thank you to everyone who's emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Gabriel writes, "Hi, Joyce and Chris. I have to say, I don't understand the accusation saying that you both don't like the substance and don't take it seriously as an Oscar contender. This is just like when Rachel pulled that hit and run, claiming you would be little Austin Butler.
True.
Certainly, you're more bullish on the film than I am because at the moment, I still maintain the only nomination it's getting is makeup and hair. I've also finally watched Emilia Pérez. What to make of this film? It's such a singular beast, the result of being the creation of a renegade auteur, I suppose. I can't say I loved all the musical numbers, but just to indulge in the cliche, I appreciated the swing, and it does have a surprising flow to it that meant it never outstayed its welcome despite the runtime. Thanks." That's from Gabriel.
Thank you, Gabriel. I agree. It was as offensive as when Rachel accused us of
The
hating on it.
comments on YouTube, Joyce. So last week I was like, we got attacked by bots. And I got to say, the people who were posting about the substance did not like being called bots because apparently they're real and they're in the comments.
Are you
It
sure
might be
though?
in there right now. And I was talking to them,
They'll be
typing
in this
away.
one after this one goes up. So
Well, they're going to be mad because we're talking about it again. And they're like, we don't like it. We're saying negative things about it. One thing that people took offense to is that we said it makes people feel like smart. And I'm like,
that's what the voter said to me. And then I do think it makes people feel smart.
and I think when I think of that too, I think the substance is the cool. The other thing they were like, it's dismissive to call it the cool movie, but I'm like, it is the cool movie.
It is. Yeah. There's nothing
And
that's not derogatory.
no, and I think the cool movie, it's a movie that makes you want to be part of it and actually want to like it because everybody else likes it. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that people who like it don't like it. I like it. I didn't love it, but if I didn't like it, I would just say I didn't like it.
Same.
I like it. I think it's a good movie, and I think there's a lot of passion for it. Uh, I've since taken out of my best picture after I was bullied into putting it in, Joyce. I've taken it out, just because I think it's polarizing. Or I was listening to the Big Picture Pod, Joyce, with Sean Fennessy,
Again, the last person in your ear. So
and he was saying, well, he's friends with Academy members, like talking to them on text.
are these people also attacking Sean?
I don't know. I don't look at their YouTube comments. Let them deal with that. But he was saying that he talked to Academy voters and they were like absolutely fucking hated. And David L, who has been in the comments defending us righteously because he's a good loyal supporter of the pod, has said he's at the wherever the film festival, the Savannah Film Festival and stuff. He's talked to people who he says don't like it either. So I'm like, if it is a polarizing movie, maybe while it'll have a lot of passion, it might just not be on any ballots at all. And so like Nickel Boys, I think will have a lot of passion and still be like 8, 9, 10 on ballots. I went back to Nickel Boys. That's my long rant there.
Yeah, like again, I don't know how we've ever said anything negative about The Substance, a movie we both like, don't love, but like and think is good.
Uh,
And we're just being realistic
yeah,
about it. Like we're not looking at this with Stan goggles. So
no. We have an emailer from Raj and Ais who I'm going to save for maybe next week. But I wanted to get to the last two. We have one from Rochelle, who's a new emailer. Joyce, I have to get that in here. Hi, Joyce and Chris. Why is film Twitter so threatened by television and people watching television? I saw a tweet the other day from a film critic who was judging another film person because they said they didn't have time to watch some well-regarded movie but had recently binged a season of TV. It's entirely possible that watching a movie feels like work to them. But also, why the hell does it matter when someone does with their free time? Film Twitter is always mad at people for watching TV, and TV people are the equivalent of Don Draper and Mad Men saying, I don't think about you at all. That's from Rochelle.
I mean, true. Again, 10-10, no notes.
Uh, I'm the movie guy of us. I feel like I'm the
Yes,
movie
you are.
guy.
Yes, I'm the
But
TV
even
person.
and you're the TV person. That's why we get along so well. But I agree with this. What we're saying here, I'm like, sometimes it's just if you're asking me what I'd rather watch at home, It's a TV. Movies, I like going to the movies to see a movie. When I watch a movie at home, it's tough sometimes. And TV shows, I think, are just really watchable. And sometimes you just want to watch a TV show.
And also, you get to spend time with these characters. Like that's like the whole point of a TV show. They're supposed to go on for years, multiple episodes, and you like spending time with these people. A movie is finite. And also, if like this person was talking to another film person, like maybe that person doesn't want to watch another movie because it feels like work, right? Like you're associating the movie with work. So like they don't cover TV. So TV
Yes.
is relaxing for them.
Also, sometimes the movies are work, and
Yeah.
like we could all sit here. Critics are going to look at things differently and whatever. I understand that, but like, and we talked about this in terms of Academy voters. If you're asking me, would I rather watch Twisters right now or rewatch The Substance? I'm going to tell you, I'd rather watch Twisters again because The Substance is, even if it's very silly at times and like entertaining, I'm like, sometimes you just want to watch a dumb movie. And like a lot of the award season
Yeah.
movies, you're not going to want to watch over and over
I
again.
mean, I'll give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I think it was on like Showtime or something. Um, The Godfather was on, and
Mm.
then another like Showtime like affiliate channel was playing Save the Last Dance. Guess which one I watched?
Save the Last Dance.
Obviously, immediately. So, and yeah,
Uh,
like right now, I just started a West Wing rewatch. So
nice.
I'm like, yeah, like when I have free time, I'd much rather watch a TV show, even a show I've seen a billion times, than watch a movie.
Last one here before we wrap up. It's a short one, so I think we could do it, even though we're hitting our limit. This one's from Bianca. She simply wrote this, Joyce. Adam Brody or Adrien Brody? Question mark.
Well, I know you would say Adam.
Well, I read this and I was like, Adam. And then I was thinking about it. I was like, it's really tough. It's a tough question. Sophie's choice.
It's funny because their big years was 2003 for both of them because Adrien won his Oscar in March 2003,
Mm-hmm.
and then the OC premiered in August 2003. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not even like one has like a huge leg up on the other in terms of like prominence,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So
Who you would take Adrian, I guess.
I don't know.
It's tough, right?
Um, yeah. But this just reminds me of because like when Nobody Wants This dropped on Netflix, in late September, that was the same weekend that The Brutalist was screening at New York Film Festival.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of tweets about The Brutalist and how great Adam Brody was in it.
It's he's such a versatile actor, Joyce. You don't even know what
I
he's
can't wait
done.
for him to win an Oscar and an Emmy next year.
Uh yeah. I don't know. I guess I would say Adam Brody because I love Seth Cohen and he is very fun on Nobody Wants This, but Adrian Brody's given me so much delight on everything from obviously like The Brutalist and The Pianist, where he's this incredible actor, to Trash Like Predators, to Winning Time and Succession. Yeah, I love and all the Wes
And
Anderson movies.
he was great on Peaky Blinders.
I really do like Adrian Brody. Also, he's like just cool. I talk to him. I've never talked to Adam Brody. Actually, that's not true. I talked to him not for this site, but for Damsels in Distress. Joyce, remember that movie? Whitstone
Um,
movie.
yeah, I don't know.
It's
I
tough.
hope they're both at the Globes and then they take a picture together.
That would be fantastic. Joyce, we're gonna wrap here. If we didn't get to your email, I'm so sorry. But email us at slugfest@goldderby.com. And email us early because next week is a holiday, Joyce. We're gonna be recording our mailbag
Thanksgiving
episode.
for us.
Yeah, we're gonna be recording a mailbag episode on Tuesday. Just as a programming note for David L. mostly. So I don't get an email about how
Everyone else is fine.
everyone else doesn't care. David L. will be like, why didn't you tell me? All right. We'll talk to you then, Joyce. Bye.